Why is it that people that are successful just keeps getting more successful, and people that are usually on a path to non-success are still in the downward spiral? And when I think about this, why do billionaires keep being billionaires? Why don't they lose all their money? Sometimes they do, but most of them don't, you know? And I came back to this quote I learned or heard like 4 years ago, and that is, if you're living in the future, you're anxious, and if you're living in the past, you're depressed. And this is something that is truly applied to life, and especially in my life. So when I look at the future and doing something, I always run through it in my head. Like, okay, what's the possible scenario? I think everyone does it. Some people do it more and some people do it less. But the most important thing is that you're aware of a situation that most of the time isn't gonna happen. So if you take myself for an example, I was pretty anxious going to Thailand and going to Asia in general, due to like all the spiders, all the snakes. I thought I was gonna sit here on the beach under a palm tree and get bit by a snake. And when you actually look at it, the odds are basically zero, right? So I was anxious for something that never is going to happen. And that's what most people do, and what I see most people struggle with. Especially if you want to start a business or start doing something. Pretty anxious, right? You just think about all the things that is going to go wrong with doing that thing, right? What if my business doesn't work out? What if I lose all my money? What if all my friends is gonna laugh at me when I post content? Like, you run through all these things in your head, and some of them are true, for sure. There will be people laughing at you. There will be people below you laughing at you, making fun of you. But in the big picture, there's only gonna come out good things from doing a good thing, if that makes sense. So if you really want to go to the gym, if you really want to practice martial arts, if you really want to build that business, if you really want to live abroad, then there's nothing stopping you. And when we're also going back to the quote of, if you live in the future, you're anxious, and if you live in the past, you're depressed. Most people are depressed, right? And I don't know the exact definition of the person who came up with this quote, what they think about, like, regarding the depressed part. But my thought or my reflection over it is that you're comparing your current with your highlights. Let me give you an example. It's a Saturday, all your friends are out, you're sick, you're at home, you can't go out, then you just think about what you're doing, right? All the time. You think about back to like all the good things you did with your friends, all the fun things, like the last time you were out, you had a great night, blah blah blah. If you're constantly in a mode of comparing, then I think you're depressed. Because if you always compare your current situation with your highlights will always be better. And then of course, then you make new highlights, then you make new memories that then later down the line you can compare to, which is pretty weird, bro. So anxiety and depression, I think, are pretty common nowadays, and also one big reason why people don't do what they want to do, right? I also talked with a guy I met here in Thailand, which I would say now is a friend. Super nice guy, really genuine, and I really had a good time meeting him and spending time with him. And he said that every time you think, your body shoots out chemicals. And going back to the anxious part, why are we getting anxious? It's because if you lived on the Stone Age in the jungle and you and your friend were walking by the river and your friend got eaten by a crocodile, then you would get anxious thinking about that scenario. So anxiety is actually a mechanism that is here to save us, to basically make sure we don't die, if that makes sense. So it also makes sense that when we're thinking about things, we're shooting out chemicals that leads to those things. So if you're always worrying about your health and stuff, it wouldn't be weird that you actually get sick. If you're always thinking about positive things, like how things are so great and things like that, you go in an upward spiral thinking about those things. And that is super interesting, I would say. Because that means that our thoughts shape our reality. And if our thoughts shape our reality, that means that we basically become what we think about. Which is like, if you actually think about it, it makes sense, and also it's super great, right? Because then we can think about good things, we can put our life into the hands of our thoughts. And we as a human, we are not our thoughts, but for most of us out here, we're constantly with our thoughts. If you're thinking about nothing, you're thinking about something, right? And this guy also teaches me that is basically like the end goal of meditation. Sort out your thoughts so you have no thought. Which is a pretty weird and cool thing also. So how does this tie back to business? How does this tie back to building a life you're actually proud of and doing what you want? I would say embrace your weaknesses, embrace the things you're afraid of. Start planning your life, start surrounding yourself with people that are positive, that are on the same life path as you. And I think your life would change dramatically, I don't know. And just by doing small actions each day, that's a positive action. So I would put drinking beer, sleeping bad, hanging out with the wrong people in the bad bracket, and I would put everything that you think is good: eating good, training, sleeping, working on yourself, working on your business, reading books, listening to people that are more smart than you. All of those things go into the good bracket. And if you stack daily wins, and of course some days are not so good, but remember, 1 day is a mistake, 2 days is a habit. So if you miss the gym 1 day due to some problems or whatever, it's fine. But don't make it 2 days. I think it's super important also to reflect on your journey. reflect on your life, reflect on where you are and what you can do better to be able to lay out the foundation to actually take the steps in the right direction. And this is what I'm doing right now. It's just me, a camera, at the beach. Talking to myself like a weirdo. So all the people who walk past me think I'm weird. But I don't give a fuck, to be honest. Because, yeah, we give too many fucks, to be honest. There's also a good read. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, I think it's called. Which is a super good book. And it explains why the old people walk into a store with a coupon that saves them 10 cents and they're angry about it. So with that said, yeah, I don't have anything more to say. Take care.